Welcome to the Underground, the Steel City Underground, the black and gold standard for Pittsburgh Steelers coverage. Now, here's your host, Terry Fletcher.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Steel City Underground WTF podcast. We've got week 7 in the books. Let's take a look at what happened. Well, I'm going to start with the Steelers this week because I'm still stung. I don't know about the rest of you, but it's one thing to get blown out at a game. You're sad, but you're like, okay, we've got a rookie quarterback. He's learning, and who did or didn't play well. But when you have 4 dropped interceptions, yes, Kenny made 2 bad decisions on interceptions as well. And the last one was extremely painful since we were running down the field. And all he had to do, I thought he was going to run, actually. And I was really surprised. He started to, and then he stopped short of the line of scrimmage and threw it. And he didn't see that defender who caught it and game over and got his 2 feet in. And if he had just run out of bounds, we still had 48 seconds left and we could have been at the 20-yard line. So yes, it's still stinging. That was a definite what the football moment. But in that game, remember, everybody's saying, oh, now put Trubisky in. Stop saying that. Just stop. Basically, you have a quarterback who still has a 98% QBR. He is completing passes. He is very accurate. Yes, sometimes to the other team. Okay, I'll give you that. But he is extremely competent, and I'm really excited to have him. So we'll see as he continues to learn and the game catches up to him. Remember, going from college instead of going to NFL, there is a learning curve, regardless of what you see in preseason, regardless of what you see early, flashes of brilliance. It's a fast game, and having to make those decisions on the fly, he'll figure it out. He will. You can just tell he will. But here's the biggest WTF for me for that game. You're basically going into halftime. You can go up 9 points, which is 2-score game, and the Dolphins on 4th and 3 decide to go for it. So first of all, I was mad at Matt Canada, which I usually am every week, because he does stupid things. I mean, as an offensive coordinator, he needs to be down on the field. I miss Haley down on the field. I miss Wisenham, and I miss all those guys. He's up in a booth, and I don't know what the heck he's looking at up there. Talk about what the football, dude. I mean, he's basically doing trick plays at 3rd and 1 when we have number 30 who's running over people. Sorry, Naj, you're not quite as explosive as number 30 right now. But this is what the Miami Dolphins coach decided to do. He decided to go for it. I can understand if you're going for it, if you're playing Buffalo or Kansas City, who always put up seems like 30, 40, 50 points. But you're playing the Steelers, who aren't scoring very many points. And by the way, either are you. The defense was stellar this weekend, no matter what anybody thinks about the loss. And unfortunately, yes, they didn't make those interceptions, but they did shut that down. But he didn't go up by 2 scores. That made no sense to anybody. I mean, we appreciate it. Thank you for the mistake, but we could have won that game at the end. We should have won that game at the end, and we gave away that game all game. So that was really crazy with the football moment. Then I get I laugh a little bit moving on to the Chiefs and 49ers game. So the 49ers start out ahead. You know, they've got a 10-point lead, and everybody's like, okay, calm down. The Chiefs are going to come back and beat them, and sure enough, they did, 44-23. And I did a parlay on this, so I like my betting there. And I took the Steelers, who were 7-point underdogs. Guess what? I won that one. Took the Chiefs in the over and the Chiefs to win, who were only favored in that game by 3, which made no sense to me. And so I did really well this weekend. So that was actually pretty good. But let's take a look and see what else is going around the league and what really did we learn and really kind of understand about what's happening out there. First of all, you know what? Kenneth Walker III, who? Yeah, he's a rookie running back for the Seahawks, and he had a 100-yard game. He is really explosive, and he just, talk about stiff arms. And he just seems like a stampeding horse through those people, so through any of those defenders. And Geno Smith, I don't know if you caught it, but he was basically yelling at the ref, and I thought he was going to get tossed. But Pete Carroll basically looked at him and said, Geno, calm down, just stop. And they ended up winning that game. It's just interesting when you see the Seahawks and the Chargers go at it, and everybody has anointed Justin Herbert, the quarterback of the Chargers, as the second coming. And no, he's really not. He's okay, but he's still got a lot to learn. I think the surprising WTF of the weekend was, okay, the New York Jets are 5-2. Wait, what? Yes, they're 5-2. They beat the Broncos 16-9, and it was a close game. I mean, you didn't have Russell Wilson in there. I think that was the first time you had Brett Ripien, and because Russell Wilson's got an injury, but Russell's playing terrible. So that it was interesting just to see how well that the Jets just came back to play. Yes, the Raiders won, but let's face it, they were playing Texans, and they won 38-20, but they were playing Texans. And again, they were playing the Texans, okay? That's all I'm going to say. I realize the Steelers are 2-5, but the Lions are 1-5, the Texans, what are they, 1-4-1? I mean, they were playing the Texans. So we're better than our record shows us to be. And when I say we, I'm talking about the Steelers. Yes, I have to talk about that. What was surprising, and here is a WTF moment, and I found out in Monday Night Football because I wasn't watching that game, was that Matt Ryan of the Indianapolis Colts actually got benched for the season. And not only did he get benched, they're actually going to go with a quarterback who hasn't had any starting passes in the season. So this is going to be very interesting to see what happens on for the rest of the season, because he's a very expensive bench warmer. And we've seen this before. We saw it, I think, with Eli when he was Manning, when he was in New York, before he retired. We've seen it at the end of a lot of careers, and he's always been overrated to me, but that was very surprising when you see that. So yes, the Titans basically just killed Indianapolis Colts 19-10. But when I heard that he was benched, I was like, wow. Well, Tampa Bay, oh boy, I don't know if we should just stick a pin in them or what. They're 3-4, and that's the first time that Tom Brady, or I should say a Tom Brady-led team, has been on a losing season since 2002, so 2002. Okay, some of these players were basically just starting in their diapers back then. So, I mean, that's a long time. So the Panthers beat them. Remember, we beat them. Yeah, I know that seems like a long time ago, week 6. But they're just not a good team right now. And I don't know if it has to do with Brady's personal life, but let's just say, and I realize they're putting a lot of pressure on Mike Evans because he dropped a would-be touchdown. But when you lose 21-3, that you can't put that on just one player. Okay, so keep that in mind. I realize that the Carolina Panthers didn't have Pat. I almost said Pat McAfee. What I meant is Christian McCaffrey, and he basically went to the 49ers. Didn't have a lot of touches there, but he had enough. Fantasy owners will be kind of happy, but they didn't have McAfee. And everybody else stepped up. They had somebody called Chuba Hubbard. There's a WTF moment. He had a touchdown and also 63 yards. He was 7 yards per carry. That's amazing. But backup quarterback, P.J. Walker, I have a feeling what's going to happen is you've seen the last, or at least the last of a starting position for Baker Mayfield. I mean, you can't seem to want to go backwards. And with how well that their new quarterback, P.J. Walker, did, or I should say their fourth string, he's back up to the backup. I have a feeling he's staying in that position. We'll see what happens, but keep an eye on that. And then another upset. I mean, we've had some upsets this weekend. Washington Commanders beat Green Bay Packers 23-21. I think that, and that's with Taylor Heinicke, because Carson Wentz has an injured finger. And you know what? You have to start saying, you know what? Aaron Rodgers, he's 39. He's old. And he doesn't look the part. He yells at his players. He's like a poor man's Tom Brady, in my opinion. He basically just never takes responsibility. Remember when we would have a bad loss, and I say Steelers, and Ben would be like, that's on me. I've got to help make people better. I've got to do that. All we see the old guys doing right now, when I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, is yelling at players, blaming the players, and they never take responsibility for how bad they're playing. Well, you know what? What's up with Aaron Rodgers? You're not playing very well at all. And You look tentative, you look very conservative, you're not taking risks downfield. Now, yes, your receivers, kind of are letting you down a few times, but you're throwing over their heads and you're throwing at their feet. Come on, what the heck? Now, yes, you had one good throw to Aaron Jones, but I think people need to stop anointing him as the second coming. It's just crazy. And how happy am I for the New York Giants? I don't even like New York Giants, but you know what? I think their coach is awesome. So the 23-17 over the Jaguars, because I don't like the Jaguars more, that's a great record for them. Will they be able to keep it? I don't know. It kind of reminds me of our 11-0 season where it was great, and then all of a sudden we hit a skid. So we'll see what happens there. I'm not really sure. The Bengals, well, yeah, they're 4-3. And here's the other thing. When you look at the AFC North and you look at what the scores are right now and where everybody is and how bunched up it is, if the Steelers had won the game this last week, we would have been only one game out of first. How crazy is that at 3-4? So yes, now we're at the bottom, but it's still really close. So we have a way to pull ourselves out. Hopefully it means a change in OC soon, but you got to ask yourself one thing. How many offensive coordinators from the Steelers have gone from OC directly to head coaching jobs? Now, there may have been one or two eventually. I don't remember if we got Todd Haley after he was a coach, a head coach. I don't remember if Wisenhunt was basically went to Arizona later in life. And I know that Bruce Arians, it wasn't, one to the other. So, and he had to, again, go as an OC somewhere. But you've never seen an offensive coordinator go as a head coach. And I was just thinking about that, looking at stats, thinking, talk about a WTF head scratcher. You're wondering, hey, why don't we have more quality offensive coordinators in the Steelers league? We're going through kind of a revolving door right now, and we need some help. So hopefully they'll get it together, but we definitely need some help because it's very close in the AFC North, and with how many games we're playing and the tight windows for the postseason. Do I think we're going to hit 500? I really hope we do. But it's going to take a little more than that to get into postseason. So we'll see what happens. Yes, the Ravens beat the Cleveland Browns, who are also 2-5. But it didn't look good. I mean, the Ravens are constantly fumbling. And it basically, a lot of times it comes from what Lamar Jackson's doing. But this was a strip sack of Brissett. So unfortunately, he was the one this time that gave it away. And Lamar Jackson, he squeezed out a win. I mean, everybody's like, oh my God, look what he did. He only completed 9 of 16 passes for 120 yards. So it wasn't like he, reigned there. They just basically squeezed it out with Gus Edwards. So that's where I'm looking at everything and thinking, you know what? We've got some situations going on here where it's not a closed door for the Steelers. And so when you look at the whole around the league thing and what was going on week 7, you're thinking, there's some definite takeaways here that could make a big difference as we go into week 8. So I'm going to leave it with this, and this is something I just really hope, if even the Steelers listen to Steel City Underground, I really hope they listen to this. First of all, who is our playmaker right now in the Steelers? And who's clicking with Kenny Pickett? Try George Pickens. I mean, he hauled in 4 targets, scored his first NFL touchdown, but every time that player is in a place where he can make combat catches, where he can score, where he can make a big impact and a difference in a game, he makes it. And all of a sudden, he disappears. And they try to target Deontay Johnson, drop ball. They try to target Chase Claypool. He does okay, but doesn't have big games, and we don't always see him. Yes, Pat Freiermuth has been stepping up, but use what's working. Don't go to somebody else because you're paying them some money. If they're not getting the job done, who's getting the job done? Well, I think the Pickett-Pickens duo there is getting the job done. So let's hope that we see a more cohesive plan as we are on the road again and we head to Philadelphia, just across the pond. But we head to the Eagles, who are 6-0. Now, yes, the team has to lose eventually. Wouldn't it be great if we could knock the only team left that has a winning record, or I don't want to say winning record, an undefeated record, a game, that would really be helpful to the Steelers. So just remember, not only are we heading to Philadelphia, who has an undefeated record in football, but the Philadelphia Phillies, they are headed to the World Series against the Houston Astros. So it's going to be a hostile environment in Philadelphia this weekend. So we're praying hard. Hopefully we can pull out a win, at least be competitive. And that's it for me this week. So look forward to week 8, and everyone make it a great day, a great week. And thank you for listening to the Steel City Underground What the Football podcast.
We would like to thank you for listening and remind our listeners to follow us on social media and our website, www.steelcityunderground.com.